What's up everyone, Mr. SLIN here, giving you a no bullshit guide to perfect positioning. And I know it's going to be tough. I know you guys have positioning issues. You guys got a lot of things going on, but I'm going to introduce you to a way to think about positioning that'll allow you to consciously practice it. And after that, I'm going to give you guys a few tips that you can use to practice positioning in your games. So well, let's start with the first part. What is positioning? 'Cause people like to say that TF2 comes down to two different factors: mechanics and positioning. Mechanics refers to your ability to hit shots, dodge incoming damage, and surf like a boss. Positioning is a little different. Positioning is all about predicting something before it's even going to happen. Knowing what's going to happen before it happens, so that way you don't get screwed over. Now, if at this point in the video you suddenly get bored and decide to click on something else, totally understand. I just want to leave you with one goal for you to take into your next game. Be as aggressive as you can possibly be at any one moment in time. It's important to be aggressive because aggression is what creates pressure, and pressure creates weaknesses in your opponent that you can exploit. If you're not aggressive enough, or if you give your opponent too much credit, you'll open yourself up to weaknesses that your enemy can exploit. This is bad, and you need to turn up your aggression. If, on the other hand, you're too aggressive and you take too much damage or even lose your life, this is called overextending, and it's considered terrible to overextend. While I do agree that you should try your best to not overextend, the one nice thing about overextending is that it allows you to test your boundaries. In other words, when you're in scrimming with your team or when you're playing pugs, overextend and test the limits of what is possible. That way, when you hop into a match, you'll know where the line is that you shouldn't cross. Alright, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the real meat and potatoes of the video. I want you to imagine for a moment what it would be like to use wall hacks. I know you don't use wall hacks. Wall hacks are bad. Don't use wall hacks, but just pretend for a moment that you use them, right? So wall hacks allow you to see exactly where all of your enemies are positioned at any one moment in time. And there's different kinds of wall hacks. There's wall hacks that allow you to see through walls. There's radars that tell you where the enemies are positioned, and there's all kinds of good stuff. But if you knew exactly where your enemies were positioned at all times, you'd probably never die to an enemy ever again, right? Now, I'm obviously not encouraging you to go out and download wall hacks, but if you think about it, wall hacks are the perfect solution to the problem of over or under aggression. If you knew exactly where your opponent was at all times, you'd never overextend because you'd always know exactly where to position yourself in order to create the perfect play. The reason why wall hacks work is because it properly sets your expectations as to what is going to happen next, right? You're no longer left wondering what is around this corner when you're blind. You just look through the wall and now you know exactly what you're up against. And it would be like playing a game of poker and seeing exactly what cards your opponent has at all times. So don't go out and download wall hacks. What I want you to do is develop the skill of anticipation and prediction, aka positioning. I want you to be able to see the future before it ever happens. I want you to be the ultimate player, a player who knows exactly what is going to happen next before it happens. The way you do this is by casting a broad net and then slowly narrowing it down over time. You use the information that you have to figure out the biggest threat that the opponent can pose at any one moment in time, and then you use that as a starting point for your expectations. So let's start by looking at our favorite 2-3 push on process as an example. As you start the next push, you have no idea what's around the next corner. Here's what their mid hold might look like if you knew nothing about what was happening. But then again, it definitely cannot be 12 level 3 sentries and 10 heavies, right? We're playing 6v6 with class limits. So now we can cut down the possibilities to a standard 6v6 setup. Okay, maybe with one engineer. So we have a good starting point here, right? Now what other information can we figure out? Peek the sewer and you find out that the combo is actually holding close to sewers with the door open. Peek the choke and you see the second scout and roaming soldier holding the left side of the map. You hit tab and you see that there's 6 up, but you remember that you recently killed their scout and he's a respawner. Alright, so now let's put him somewhere back here by the forward spawn, and this means that they'll be down an extra player for about 5 more seconds as he's rolling out to middle, and he won't be in position with a buff to shoot our soldiers out of the sky. So we can cross engineer off the list, right? We can cross the sentry off the list, we can cross off all the off classes, but we don't know what that scout respawner is, so let's just settle for no engineer with a level 3 for now. Lastly, we've been keeping track of Uber and know that their medic won't have Uber yet, and we do. So this means that they won't be able to resist if we push with our Uber. Oh, and look, their demo man is a bit too close to choke and gets picked off. Boom, he's dead, and now there's no trap and no demo. hopefully you all get what I'm getting at, which is that you don't actually need to have wall hacks in order to play the game properly. You just need to gather your information and relay it to your team so that everyone is properly informed and can make the right decisions. It's all about decision making. Once everyone knows what's happening, you will then have a clearer idea of what to expect next, and you can make the best decision possible. In this example, I think we all have all of the information that we need in order to execute a successful push. Wouldn't you agree? Now, in the end, it all comes down to expectations and anticipation. In order for you to have perfect positioning, you need to set your expectations at the proper level and then predict what will happen next based on the information that you're given. And it really takes a lot of experience to be able to do this properly, but you put yourself in your opponent's shoes and you can pretty easily make the next decision for them and then anticipate that back on your end. So that about wraps it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I promised some tips and tricks for improving your game sense and your positioning, but the video is going on a little bit long, so I'm actually going to add that to a part 2 video coming out soon. And in the meantime, I hope you check out the other videos on my channel. I hope you ask me some questions in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. And I hope to see you on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/MrSLIN. Catch you next time.